Sergio?
Sergio. Table 4.
Okay, if you want coffee, raise your hand.
I got it.
Okay. All right. Hello, Sergio.
Hi, yes. What's your name?
Hi, Caroline. Can I get you something, Pumpkin?
I just want to come with me.
You want me to come with you?
To go with Mom to get a coffee.
Okay, let's go. Who do you have with you?
My toys.
And what are their names?
Anna and Elsa.
Anna and Elsa. And did you dress up as Princess Anna at Disneyland?
Yes.
And did you look just really, really cute?
Yes.
And who do we have here?
Anna.
And who did you dress up as at Disneyland?
Elsa.
And were you just too darn cute? Yes. Who do you have with you?
Ariel and Mulan.
And what do you do back home that reminds you of Grammy?
Ballet.
Anna does ballet, and she thinks of Grammy all the time. Did you want to do any ballet for Grammy here? No, that's okay. If you do, feel free to come on up at any time, because I'm in charge. Okay? Are you going to get some coffee? Okay, good luck. That was my daughter Anna and my daughter Caroline. My wife Julie is doing the Queen Wave. Yes. So, yeah, this has been a wild month. This has been a really, really wild month for me. You know, being away and having a mom with Alzheimer's, it's an interesting game because you just, you know, it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get when you call. And it's hard. If you haven't experienced someone with Alzheimer's, you'd think, oh, well, so that's really hard. And it's a joy to just talk with them, just to have the conversation. It doesn't matter what the conversation is, it's that they're present, they're there, because you remember who they are. Even if they don't remember who they are, you remember who they are. And so they grasp things and they say something that is amazing from 35 years ago, and then they don't remember that they just told you that. And so it's hard over the phone because you can't look into their eyes and you can't hold them. And so from my perspective, it was a wild journey. It really was. And so it happened so fast that I didn't have the chance to reflect. I really didn't have, you know, to go back, and I was kind of a handful, you know, not a total handful. Randy helped with that. And so you just, I mean, all you mothers in the room, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They're never gonna thank you until maybe they're my age, and then they apologize and get on their knees and beg for forgiveness. And so I wasn't a horrible kid, but I just, okay, maybe I was. But when I started thinking of all of the things about my mom, it just got overwhelming. It was just too much. And so then I started thinking, okay, she's gone, she's not here, but she is here. All right, but everybody kind of says that. They're like, well, she's in a better place, and sorry for your loss, and she's in a better place. What does that mean? What does that really mean? So I started thinking about that. I'm like, this is just mysterious, this whole death thing. You know, you can't prepare for it. You just can't. But what does it mean she's somewhere else? I'm not a god. I don't know what heaven is. I know that's a shock to some of you. Not that I'm not a god, but I just admitted that I'm not a god. Probably Karen more than anyone. But it's true. How do you know what's going on up there? You don't. But I will tell one story that I think sums it all up. I was with my wonderful cousins up in Priest Lake, Idaho. And it was such a great time, and some just crazy, wild fluke accident, and I broke my femur bone water skiing. It's like, who does that? I mean, I don't think anyone's ever done that. It was nobody's fault. It just was a fluke accident. And so I find myself in the Spokane hospital with a busted femur in traction, and I'm ODing on Darvon, and it's just crazy. And so, of course, when my mother hears this, she's on the first plane. But she's not on the first plane because it's the air controller's strike. So she's just panicking. So she finally gets to the Spokane hospital, and it took her about 5 minutes, and she said, "No, we're going home." I'm like, there's spiders on the wall. And so she calls my dad and says, "We have to get him home." So my dad hires an air ambulance. Do you know what an air ambulance is?
Expensive.
It's an ambulance that flies. And so they drilled a hole in my leg in order to put me in traction, first of all. And so they have to take me out of traction to put me on this gurney to transport me to this plane so that I can go fly up in the air home. So of course, my mom never left my side once, never allowed anything to stand between her and me. And we had about a 3 or 4 hour stretch, I think it was maybe Sierra Mountains or something, where the turbulence was just incredible. And I was on painkillers, and it didn't matter. We would hit a pocket, and it would just go. And I would just slam back to the ground like I was hitting a bed of needles, and my bones were rubbing together, and I would let out this horrendous scream every single time. That woman never showed fear. Not once. Not once did she go, "Oh!" How do you do that? How do you look at your son screaming in pain, not able to do anything about it, and stay as solid as a rock, holding both of my hands every single time, providing hope that it was going to be okay, providing that little sense of comfort that never should have been there in that type of circumstance. And I made it. 7 hours later, we land in San Diego. I'm not a god. I don't know what heaven's like. But I do a lot of reading. I understand theology. I know what they wrote about Jesus and God and what God's supposed to do for you when you're in pain and you're giving it up to Him and you're surrendering your life so that in 7 hours, it was revealed to me there is a God. It's either her or He created her. There's only one explanation, because she's not. I hope not, because then we're in big trouble. There's only one explanation. Everything that they write about it, whatever your spirituality is, whatever you believe, if you don't believe in God, you believe in a God, when you have that sacrifice to provide comfort, compassion, unconditional love to another human being, giving up everything about yourself so that they can be comforted and get through a situation, There's something there. And so, what Lisa was saying is absolutely true. We have been formed by this woman. We have absorbed that love that Tom told me on the phone. It's just something about your mom when I walk in the room. There's just something about her. She doesn't just welcome you with words, she welcomes you with her soul. And so when I look at people that may be doing some really bad things, I look past the dysfunction and the addiction or whatever it is, and I look at maybe that person that's crying out for that comfort that they didn't have on Melinda Riley. And maybe some of those patients that they didn't have somebody for them. I could have ended up dramatically differently. It could have been bad news. But every time I feel that love, every time I cross that border from comfort to pain, my mom isn't physically here anymore, but I get to feel that comfort. There's something there. Whatever that is, I like it. And I'm smiling today. And the reason I'm smiling today is because a woman who sacrificed for probably 82 full years, I'm sure maybe at 2 she probably sacrificed doing something, but she gave of herself. Everybody in this room knows that she gave of herself. That compassion, that love, that comfort. She is experiencing every single moment now. There is no pain, there's nothing going on, there's nothing happening, and this is her reward. That's what the celebration of life is. The celebration of life kind of is a let's celebrate her life, and yeah, it's in my terms, it's actually celebrating her life now, not everything about her life. But now thousands and thousands and thousands of people have got that. They've got that, and they get to pass that on. And every one of you, and it's been mentioned here before, every one of you get that opportunity. Wherever you got that from, your mom, your dad, your stepmom, wherever you got that from, there's something there. You got it from somewhere. And if they're not a God, I believe that God created that person to do just that very thing and be there in your life. Like Kimber was in my life. When all my notes for my speech and the agenda and everything just disappeared somehow, and I just walked by and I had no reason to talk to Kimber. I'm like, Kimber, if you were an agenda and a speech, and she just finished my sentence, where would I be? Yeah. And within what, 10 seconds? She's like, I don't know. Oh yeah, oh here it is. I had to send Cal back to the house, he couldn't find it. It's out there, folks, and I've had some rough goes in my life, and I've had some adversity and some pain. And my mom was there every single time. No judgment, no scolding right away. She wanted to make sure that I knew she was there for me. That's a mother. That's what I would define as nurturing, loving, and compassionate. And they're not just words in a dictionary. I experienced it, I felt it, and I now get to give it back. And I do my best to not break into crying. I can't go into it, but I don't cry a whole lot. But I tell you, this woman, I am the luckiest son in the world. Luckiest son in the world. So, before I pass this on to my dad, I'm going to try and give you a snapshot of the last conversation that any of us had with her. It's Mother's Day, and I called her, which was a good idea. And we had a 22-minute conversation Sunday night. And the first 15 minutes were the same Alzheimer's, just don't, you know, I didn't have another baby, Mom. It's not having, you know, you don't go into that. You just smile. You love what she's saying. But then she started breaking into something that I didn't quite understand. And she said, you know, honey, you've always been there for me. And then she said a couple other things. Now, keep in mind, I did not know this was the last conversation any of us were going to have with this woman, or I would hit record or something. You just never know. And she started saying things that I had no idea we ever did together. And then it hit me. She was having a conversation with her husband. You. And here's what she said, Dad. She said, you have always been there for me. You have provided for this family. You gave of yourself. You sacrificed. You built this family. I know you will always be there for me. You've always been there for me. And I realized who she was talking to. And I kept on talking to her as you, Dad. And I just said, I love you, honey. The only other person that knows this happened is Stacy. But she loved you. And she said goodbye to you through me. That was a wonderful woman who sacrificed for this family and built this family, but not without you, Dad. Not without you. Not without you giving her that opportunity to be there for us. And she thanked you for that. And she said she knows that you will always do what's necessary for this family. You should be very proud of that woman. She's quite a woman. So you're up, Dad.
Yeah, follow that.
Sit down. Stand up.
Thank you, son.
Welcome. Sit down.
No, I'll stand. With all of this going on,
Shirt pocket.
I feel like I'm the Lord. But it's been a life.
Shirt pocket.
You don't hear it?
The blessing.
I don't know who it was.
We'll be with you in a minute. Well, it was there when I got addressed.
You tried.
That's not it.
That's a check.
That's enough for the paper.
Why don't you guys
That's Kimber.